Hey, so Jake, welcome to my show. It's another episode of What's Up Wall Street. So today, Jake
Thank
and
you for
I,
having me.
thank you for coming on. So today, I'm just gonna be talking to you about the market, what's going on, the war, the news, and managing your account and staying alive.
Yeah.
The volatile market, kangaroo market. So, Jake, let's hear it. How have you been navigating this market?
It's been tricky. It hasn't been easy. And I will say it's one of the slowest starts over the course of the last 4 years, I've taken bigger position sizes, each year. Right. And so from a dollar perspective, it's not my slowest start ever by any means or anything like that. But from like a mental capital perspective, it's been my slowest start. There's been a lot of days I wake up and I'm not very excited to trade. Like today was one of them. And halfway through the session, I was just like, I'm over this, right? Like I don't,
Right.
this is, we're not getting continuation on moves. And so the type of trader that I am is I'm not a scalper. I don't mind scalping, but I don't aim for these small moves. I prefer to catch larger intraday day trades, and I'm okay sitting and waiting until those moves present themselves, right? And recently we just haven't seen those moves be presenting themselves in an opportunity in which they're friendly to catch, so to speak, right? Like there's been these large moves, like even today on the S&P and on the NASDAQ, there was a really nice strong move down, but it
Mhm.
came after a strong push up through pre-market highs, right? And
Right.
so some experienced traders might be able to recognize that as a failure pattern and take a short beneath the open and sort of aggressively short that. But for most traders out there, people were looking to get long over pre-market highs. They were looking for pullbacks to hold. And then we got this very vicious, strong down move. And then within 30 minutes, we erased the entire down move before chopping and going sideways. And it's like, we're not getting follow through in any direction. We actually didn't even, the system I trade is all levels based, right? And we didn't, normally I would have expected us to trade down into one of our levels today. And if we had traded down into like, I think on the S&Ps it was 4405, that would have made sense, right? Like these would have been moves that are making a little bit more sense.
For
So
sure.
that's the common misconception I think out there is that just because these bigger moves are happening doesn't mean that you should expect yourself to catch them all, because most of them are happening in a way that's difficult to predict that they're going to happen, and then also the trades themselves make it difficult to stay in them, right? Meaning that if you're entering, say, a short position, you're going to see a
Right.
lot more fake rallies up, a lot more wicks running stop losses than you are going to see clean downtrending moves, right? As then in combination with that, especially if you're an options trader, by the high implied volatility in the moment can make it just harder to capture some of these moves, right? And it can
Yeah.
be more difficult. You have to have lower expectations. And so to circle this all back up, sort of the way that I've been surviving is really keeping my expectations low, right? Because even today, for example, there was an opportunity on Boeing, caught a nice trade on that, and caught like a 2.5 or $3 move, but the contracts went up a minimal amount compared to what I would have expected from a $3 move from Boeing, right? I would have expected just um, a little bit higher, but granted, the market we're in, IV is high, right? Everything is
Right.
expensive, and so when that doesn't happen, you just have to adjust. You just have to say, okay, I'm not worried about the P&L. I'm not worried about the fact that I expected more or whatever the case may be. You're only worried about the fact that the chart made its move. You have a reason to exit. You exited. You move on to the next one, right? And so it all circles back into ties back into, are you okay being able to sort of sit out and sit on your hands for a while, which not a lot of traders are used to having to do, especially when they started. Right? If
Right.
you started in 2020 or 2021, most of the time there was good action with a couple of months of chop. And if you survived a couple of months of chop, you could throw darts at a dartboard on longs, and
Understood.
you would get lucky. You would have made money, right? Yeah, you would make money just throwing darts at a dartboard, right? And so,
Yes.
um, so I think it's been a whole different adjustment. So for me, my biggest piece of advice and my biggest way that I've been navigating this market is lower expectations, lower size, and as hard as it is, really understand that the biggest trades, at least for me, I've said this a few times now in a few different places, the biggest trades that contribute towards my end of year P&L, like my big 20 winners of the year or whatever it might be, those won't come from these last few weeks. Now, I'm hopeful that we've started to flip in the market and we're now back into an uptrend and all that. But over the last 3 months, I've accepted that I'm not going to be getting my huge giant winners from here. But big losers from that chop can affect my end of year P&L, right? Like if you suffer a big loser, it can be one of the ones that really hurts you in the end, right? So for me, been trying to just keep my discipline in check above all else. I think that's been the most important part.
I appreciate that. And that's one of the reasons I was like kind of drawn to you. It's like you're so like you're disciplined. And the fact that I can relate on a personal level to some of the things you say, I'm like, this guy gets it. Like, how does he know what I'm thinking right now? And with the and like I usually like to play the opening range breaks and scalp it open. So today was one of those days where I was like really kind of frustrated with like I didn't get the follow through.
You didn't get the follow through, right?
Yeah, I didn't see that, and it's been happening a lot. And just hearing you say, "Hey, like this is the time to just relax, be disciplined," and later on it would start to pay off. So I've been trying my best to just stay calm because March has been like a big challenge for me. I'm like, I can't wait for this month to be over. Like,
yeah, I agree with you. Honestly, the last week of trading was my best week, not dollar wise, but consistency wise all year. Because for me, last week was the first week that I preach and I say the one trade per day, really focus on less is more, all that. But in this type of market, it's hard, right? It's hard to fight those urges to search for a second trade and all that. And so for a couple of weeks before last, the beginning weeks, the first week of March, and I think maybe the second week of March too. Yeah, the first and second week of March, I found myself, they were all small size positions and everything, but I found myself falling victim to the death by 1,000 cuts, which happens sometimes, right? Where it's just small loser, small loser, small loser. And none of those are actually account damaging, right? Even if you're smart managing your risk, those aren't going to damage your account. But what those might do is damage your confidence a little bit, right? And that's that's where it starts to kick in more than anything, I think. And especially like when you were mentioning the opening range breakouts that are failing, right? These typical setups that we see that tend to work, right? They quote unquote should work, aren't working. And it's not necessarily the dollar value, right? Because someone like for yourself, I know you know how to manage your risk, right? No one individual trade you take is going to harm or hurt you in the end run, right? But it can start to take a toll on you a little bit where it's like, man, like, is something, do I need to change my strategy? Like, am I just completely wrong? Yeah. Like, right. It's like, is it like, is something like, what happened, right? Like what happened compared to what was happening before? And I think that that's really where a lot of traders struggle. And the reason it's funny that you mentioned something when you're like, a lot of things I've say, resonate with you, or you feels like you've thought that before. It's just interesting because I've heard that a lot. And I think where that comes from is that when I first started trading, my first year, I did everything wrong. And I did it wrong for a full year without really changing much. I thought I was just smarter. I thought I could get better. I thought I was doing whatever. Or the gambling part of me took over, whatever it was. My first year, I did everything wrong. And I got lucky a few times, and then mostly I just did stuff wrong. And I think throughout that process, the one thing I did right was that I tracked, whether it was through journaling or just even mentally in my head, I tracked the emotions that I felt during all of those moments, right? I tracked, the highs and lows. Trading consumed my life for a full year in a pretty negative way. And because of that, because of the fact that I sort of let it carry over for a full year, and the fact that I didn't really change all that, and I tried to, sorry, not to go on a tangent or a story, but I tried to change a little bit, and I tried to, I changed strategies, but reality is I wasn't addressing the emotional, psychological side of trading, right? And so by going through that miserable year, right, and then subsequently from that, every couple of years after that, about every year or so for about a week or maybe 2 weeks or a month, I would go through a rocky stretch that was almost identical to the bad habits I had in my first year, right? And
Yeah.
even this year, I've had a couple of days this year where I found myself going, like one of them I'll never forget was when I was in Hawaii and I took a trade on DoorDash. And one of my big problems I used to have was buying gaps up. I love gaps up, but when they fail, they can get aggressive selling to the downside.
Right.
And one of my problems used to be buying into those gaps up too early and then they saying I'm not wrong when the stock's selling off and like I'm definitely wrong, right? And I just tell myself, oh no, you're right because of this, you're right because of that. And I find that was a big problem of mine, and I became really good at not doing that, and then I became good at trading the open. But every now and then, still, I kind of put myself in a position where I shouldn't be, sort of taking those trades that are like forced at the open and I hold for too long and all that. So that all that to say, sorry, I go on tangents sometimes.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But
I love it. Go on.
Awesome. So all that's to say is that when I had these bad habits that I created in year one, and I was so wrong in a lot of them. My habits were so bad that I was easily able to identify, okay, this is the mistakes you're making. Like you've been doing this for a while. This is clearly what's wrong. Your headspace is clearly not there, right? You're clearly making these mistakes because of this. And then now that I start to think about that, I'm like, okay, let me start to think about what's the right way to think about it, right? What's the right way to do that? And it took me a while to even go through that thought process. But in the fact that it took me so long a year and a half or 2 years isn't all that long in the grand scheme of trading, but it took me a while to like even turn the first corner, so to speak, right? Like when I first started, I was not great. I always used to tell my mom, there's people who are like meant to do this and people who are not meant to do this. I am not meant to do this, right? Like I am not a super patient person. I am not the most disciplined. I have, trouble. Like when I, have trouble, for example, not eating dessert at night. I love dessert, even though some nights, I shouldn't eat dessert, stuff like that, right? So like there's some people who are super disciplined in nature. That's not me. So I think for me, I had to experience the first full year of going through it in such a rocky way that, okay, now that I've seen all the bad and that I've hit rock bottom, so to speak, right? I really hit rock bottom. I was like, okay, but I know I can do this, right? I've seen the glimpses. I've seen those few days here and there that I can do this. So again, that just put me on a little bit of a tangent, but that I think is why I'm able to sort of relate to so many people in a lot of different ways, is that a lot of people out there, you only see the good with trading, right? You only see the good. I made XXX on this day.
Yeah.
Even traders who post their losses, which I respect and all that, but it's still, and this isn't necessarily their fault. I think it's just the fault of social media. It's the social media is that it becomes like it's unreal, right? It's like trading that it's so easy. There's no downs. This is the easiest job ever. You wait for a pattern and you buy it. It's like, no, this is hard. Like you have to sit at your desk. You sit at your desk and wait and examine constant opportunities where you could possibly increase your account size by 10% on one individual trade, right? Like if you make 100% trade or something, you could make 10% of your account. You could make 2,000,000% of your account on a year or something like that. Like it's all possible. And so those opportunities and like that, it's so hard to sit on your hands and constantly examine all these different things flying in your face. So like people who don't trade, they don't get it in the sense that like, this is so not easy, right? And a lot of, I think, people online, whether it's social media or the way they display it, it can make it seem like it's easy. It's like, like you have to be a mental athlete in order to be a trader, because the ups and downs and the swings that you'll go through will be unreal, right? Like making $100 or $1,000 in a minute and then seeing that fade, right? Like that's not something that most people have to deal with on a daily basis, right?
Not really. So some people don't really get that. Trading is like that. You have weeks, years where you're like on top of the world, and you might just have that year where things are just not going the way they should be. And some people think, oh, it's all roses, oh, easy money. It's far from easy.